Dear friends, welcome to my video. In this video, we'll see how to generate images using the OpenAI ChatGPT APIs, Dalle APIs in your Android app. So the APIs are listed in these links, which will be using it. And yeah, so let's start. We'll create a simple layout project. We can name it probably uh, image or AI image using ChatGPT Dalle. Yeah. It's Dalle. Yeah. Anyway, click finish and wait for the environment to load. It may take a while. Yeah. In the meantime, I'll just quickly show you those APIs. So this is the one of the link where they have given the details about the Dall-e APIs which are now in public, and here is the curl command for that same, and even you can go to the reference document of the chat GPT. If you click on create image, here you can go there, and this is the post method which we have to use, and here is the curl command. Here is the response what I will be getting over here. The response will be in the form of the URL which we'll be using. Now let's switch back to our environment. It is still loading, so we may have to wait for a while. Perfect, my environment is loaded now, so I'll start the emulator also in parallel on the right hand side. In the meantime, there are few things which I'll do first. One is in the manifest file, I'll give the required permission, which is basically internet, because we'll be interacting over the internet, so we have to declare that in the manifest file. And apart from that, in the build file, we'll implement volley library, that because that's what we'll be using to call our REST methods APIs. Yeah, so implementation, and then you can give com dot android dot volley, and I think the latest version of volley is 1.2.1. Yeah, this one. Yeah, you can do, and then click on sync now. It may take a while. I'm also starting my emulator, so it may take a while, but yeah, more or less this is what we have to do. So I think that's all we have to do in terms of some extra configuration. Now we can go to our layout quickly, and in layout what we can do it is, by default we get text view, right? So most likely we'll keep it, we'll use it to display our what, some kind of output and all. So yeah, and also we'll include one plain text for taking the input of the input string of the for the generation of the image. So this could be probably, I'll give some constraints over here first, and name of course I'll delete, and I can give some hints, say for example input text or something like that. Input text, yeah, okay, fine. And id would be given something, edit text. I don't know why they are text twice, so I can give it only one time. And then what else I can do is I can give some kind of button to trigger it. So one button could be to generate the image, probably generate AI image, generate AI image, and one more button to show the image, probably I can do so one by one. And okay, emulator start in parallel on the right hand side, that's good. So I can just minimize this, I think, for the time being. For now we don't need it, and I can give the other inputs of this button. This could be show image, which is basically to show the image on some kind of image view and all. This text view we can use to display our URL, and image view is something which I can use over here. And probably what I can do it is use whatever, yeah, simple background. I don't want to do anything fancy right now, and just expand it. Okay, image view is by default given, give some constraints, and I think that's all for now. I'll move to the Java code quickly and define these class variables for all these widgets. One is the image view, just now we got it, and one was the edit text for input, edit text, okay, and one was the text view as well. So these were the three widgets apart from the two buttons. Okay, yeah, so first let me have this one by one. Image view find view by id, R.id.imageView, perfect. And then what, edit text, same thing I'll do, find view by id, R.id.editText, and same thing I'll do for text view. Just ignore those red error message which is coming. It will, once you refresh, it will go off. Yeah. So, this error message for a time being going off. Once you refresh, it will go off. So now I'll define two methods: public void button generate AI image view, and one will be public void button show image. So show image is basically to show the image in the image view. That's all. Why I have separated it is because yeah, we may want to do it in asynchronous form, right? So I'll go back to my layout quickly and assign these two methods as the on-click attribute. So say for example, this is for button generate, and for this one, it will be the other one, show image. Yeah. How you can be sure that it has been associated? So if you come back, the color of this method's name will change from gray to somewhat darker bluish form. Okay, fine. Now, apart from this, I'll also define few more class variables. I'll define one by one. One will be, of course, the string type and string URL endpoint. Okay, and what I'll do over here, if I go back to that API document, so this is the endpoint what we have to use, right? So this, or you can even copy this. It's the same over here. So it's basically v1 images generations. Okay, so this is what we'll be using, and so this you can hard code. That's not a problem. The other one what we'll need is the API key. So that will be string, and probably I can name it as API key, which is basically your secret passcode, right? So this you will have to generate. And if I go back here, I have already logged into my account, and once you log in, you come to this API key section, and then you can create a new secret key over here. You can give it anything, say for example, image generation demo. Okay, and create secret key. It will create a secret key instantly, and don't forget to copy paste it. So I'm copy pasting, because once if you don't copy paste instantly, it may go off. Okay, so I've taken it as a backup in my text file also, and over here also, of course, I'll copy paste. Don't use my API key. I'll definitely remove it after this demo, after this video. Yeah, but you create your own API key, and moreover, if you sign up, mostly they will give free credit for few days. Use that. Otherwise, you may have to attach your credit card information to get it. Yeah. Okay, and if you notice here, this has gone off once the refresh. It might have refreshed internally. Okay, apart from that, what else we'll do is we will probably create an output variable, which we can name probably string output, and we can leave it blank also. But I'll do one thing. If you had noticed at the start of this, I just showed this image that time. That was by mistake. So I'll be using the same URL just to hardcore right now, because in case there is no uh, output, at least there will be some output from our side. Okay, yeah, but we'll override this output in our method below. So just hold on, and what we can also do is we can create a bitmap output image. Okay, and yeah, so this we will create in our methods below. So these are the only variables which I think we'll need. Now if I start with this method, first and foremost what we'll need is we'll need an input string. So string input text also you can add. Yeah, and this will come from edit text get text to string. So this is basically what the user will enter, and then once we have it, then what we can do is we can create something called JSON object. So this is where the volley libraries will be used, and this will be probably new JSON object. Now we have to create or update this JSON object as per the curl command given in the API. So I'll go back here in the documentation, and what I need is I need to enter a prompt. Okay, so just copy paste this. So this will go in my this one as a put, And here you can either hard code the value, or I think we will take it the input from whatever the input string text. So this will be our prompt what the user will enter. Okay. If I proceed, okay, there is some error input. I think it will be asking to surrounded by try catch. Let's see. Yeah. So just do that. And once I proceed, you can create some control JSON object request. Yeah, this one. Okay. And create this new JSON object request. I think this one. And this could be of request method dot post. Perfect. And second input could be the no, not the text but the endpoint, I think. And your endpoint. So if you're wondering how to understand which all attributes will be needed, what you can do is you can just go and hover on this particular method, and it will give you the list of the options. So first is like no, I think this is not correct. So what we can do it is probably if you yeah go here. So I'm not sure if it's not showing the accurate one, but yeah, more or less it's correct, right? So it's first one of the argument is this URL which we have given here, and apart from that, it expects us to assign a listener, successful listener, and error listener. So that's what we'll be doing now. So just an object and then new response listener. Perfect. So this will be one of the input, and the other input could be new error listener, and then give a semicolon to this. So perfect. So if you know scroll hold on this, so this you can get the signature of this particular method what we are using. So first argument is the method type, URL, blah blah blah. Yeah. Anyway, so let's quickly finish it up. So in error you listen, I don't think we have to do much apart from just printing some kind of error. So what we can do is set text error. You can think of whatever you want to give. Now before I go to the response part, there is an override methods like for that headers we have to define. So let me do one thing here. Let me come like this and press alt insert, or you can even right click over here. I think that option will come, which is basically generate. So click on this, and what we want to generate is override methods. Click on here, and what we want to put over here is the get header. So I'm just trying to look for that. So I think I got it. So this is the method which I'm looking for, and why I'm looking for this one is if I quickly go back, we will define these two header components here. One is the content type and one is the authorization. So if I go back here quickly, I don't think I will. Yeah, first let me give a semicolon here, and over here what I'll do, create a new header. So I'll okay this type only app string control C, control V, and map header and new as map. Yes, and now I can update this map header one by one with a put command, which is the basically the first one will be the what is the string type. So if I go back to my this one, and I can copy this control C, and this is authorization. So this is the yeah pair value, you can say. So parameter value. So this is the parameter, and the value for this one will be, please note you have to insert the word bearer as well. So bearer, and there's a space after that. So please note that, and then you have to give your API key over here. So this is one, and then apart from that, what else we'll need is we need something called content type. So this is basically content type, and which is nothing but application JSON. You can better to copy paste to avoid any spelling mistake or yeah. So that's all. And in the return, what I'll do is we'll not return super, we'll return this whatever we have created just now. So this will return the header whenever this particular yeah JSON is called. So now we are done. So here the response part is what we have to set. Here we'll update our output variable, which if you remember, in the start we created this output variable, but I gave some value, default value, but we will have to update it here in case it's successful. And what we can do it is we can try to get the response dot dot get JSON array and array type. Okay, again we'll have to switch to this one. So this is my response, right? So over here this data is an array, so I'll just type this, and then here we should get the JSON object of the index, 0th index. So this will be applicable if there are more than one input. So I can just quickly tell you, in our request body we are giving just prompt, but you can also give a value called n integer which will give return more than one images. So we are just interested in one images, but default is one. But if you are more interested in more than one, just give this value to 2, 4, whatever, and that many URLs will be returned. Okay, so over here it's just 0 is required, which is basically the first index, and then I like to get the string of the URL, which is basically, yeah, I will again copy paste from here and control V. So I think that's all. There's some error here. Let me say, probably again try catch it to last round. We'll try catch, do that, no problem. Okay, so once this is done, what else we can do it is we can probably update our text view, set text with the string URL, whatever we get, right? So I can just string output, yeah. So once we have it, more or less our response type is done. We'll use this string output to show the image in the next method. But before that, we'll complete this method first quickly. And the only thing which is left is to call this volley request. Okay, so for that, what we'll do is we'll first create something called time period or timeout period, which you can define probably how much. So this is probably 60 seconds because it's in milliseconds. So 60 seconds. I think 60 seconds is good enough for it to happen. And then we can define something called retry policy, and we can create default retry policy, and here we can give our time period as one of the arguments, which is in here time period, and default maximum retries and default back of multiple. Yeah, so these are the few arguments which we can give, and once our retry policy is there, then we can just update our JSON object request with this set retry policy, and the policy which we have just now created, we can just update that. So once that is done, then we can call volley to not error volley for this new request queue to put it in the queue. And how we can do it is we can get the context of the application. Okay, fine, and then we can add, right, we can add the request, and the request is basically JSON JSON object request. Yeah, that's all. So here to run and get me the output in this URL form, in this yeah, and string output will be holding that. Okay, now what I can do it is in this button show image here, what we can try to display it. So for that, the output of the URL in a bitmap. So what we'll have to do first, we'll have to create a thread because we can't access internet or network related things in the main thread. So we'll create a new thread, and probably we can create a new runnable, and yeah, so this is fine. And in this runnable, what we can do is we can create our url and from this new, okay, I think alt enter so that it can create that new URL, and we can use string output because this is a string format, so it will convert it into the URL form. Okay, there's some error. I think again try catch it will be asking. Yeah, strong will try catch, not a problem. And once we have this URL, then what we can do is we can create a bitmap output image from this URL, and bitmap factory dot decode stream. There should be some option of stream. I think this is the option which I'm looking for, and here I can use URL dot open stream. Perfect. So here again is asking to add catch clause. Yeah, please do it, no problem. So yeah, IO exception is required here. So once we have it, then what we can do, we can, of course, first we can start a thread, start, and no, I think I did something wrong. Okay, so thread cannot be started, of course. Inside the thread, we have to go out of the thread, and here we can start the thread. And once the thread is started, what we can do, we should wait for the thread to wait. So while thread is alive, we can't proceed. So we should, until this is alive, we can probably print something like text view set text thread. No, wait. Thread is in process. Okay, and probably I'm not sure. And what I can do then, once this is done, get this bitmap uh, output image into a local bitmap variable. I'll bitmap final image, and I can do is bitmap dot, I will scale it up, scale it, and the first input is of course the bitmap, and the scale is the width and height. So what we can do for that is we can get the width and height from the image view. So I'll do one thing, I'll go to the next line, it gives sometimes better, and image view dot get height, and what is L, just true for the last one. Perfect. So once I have it, yeah, then I can use this to print in my image view. So dot set image bitmap and bitmap final image. Perfect. And probably I can print some statement as well in text view. I'll just copy paste this line, Control C. I'll print it here also, and I'll print it here. Yeah, thread is processed, or image generation successful. Perfect. I think that's all. Let me run this particular code in my emulator, see how it comes up and whether it works or not. So it's, yeah, let me bring it up. I think it's still coming up. Yeah, so I'll give some random probably white tiger, yeah, white tiger, something like that. Let me click this. So first and foremost, if it's successful, then what I expect is not to expect to show it in the image, but at least to show some URL. Yeah, this is the perfect, this is the URL which it generated. And now I can click on show image to show this particular image in the image view. So I'm not sure. Perfect. If you notice, it's done. Image generation successful, and perfect. And I think why this was not printed, probably what I can do it is, since it was waiting for that, let me do one thing. Let me do it like this. Yeah, and I can probably try again. No, anyway, it's shown, so it won't work. It won't, yeah, make any difference. Let me rerun this, and let me get some different images. Now I can use the prompt which they also give as an example here. What example they've given? A cute baby sea otter. Let me see what this one gives. So if I go back to my here and paste and generate AI image. So first thing I'm expecting is this URL to get printed here. If the generation is successful, and then I can click on show image to show it. You can also automate it. Why I have done it in two different buttons trigger is because I want to give it ample of time and make sure everything is fine. But yeah, in your app you can automate with the if your structure is correct, then you can definitely automate it. Perfect. So this time again it came a white otter. So yeah, I think I can do one thing. I can the start of this, if I put, I'm not sure why this message not coming to this process. I was expecting that to happen. If I do it again, and I can put it something like mountain uh, with rising sun. It's a very yeah, easy image is what I'm expecting here. So this is the last demo. So I hope it will come up. So it takes a while. I'm not sure why it takes a while to process this thread part. And yeah, so perfect. So this is done. I'm not sure why this is not getting printed. I will look into it, but yeah, more or less the app is working fine. Image is getting generated, it's being showed, and the URL is also getting printed. You can also use that URL. You can export that URL in somewhere and save it if you require. And yeah, can generate. So that's all I wanted to show you in this simple video how easy it is. If I can quickly summarize, you have to just use those APIs, convert it into a JSON object with prompt, required prompt, call it, get a response, capture a response in the URL. It will be the URL form, and then change the URL into the bitmap to show the image. So that's all. I hope this video is useful to you. If you have any questions or suggestions, then please put in the comment section below. And if you like